Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we cut through the noise of complex narratives and distill the essential, fascinating core.
Hello.
Today, we are undertaking a deep exploration into the Kingdom of Landover, focusing on one of its most potent and unpredictable forces, Mistaya Holiday, the princess.
This is a spectacular dive, it really is, because it's not just about a princess running away from a terrible arranged marriage.
No, it goes so much deeper than that.
It does. It's charting her accidental discovery of a kingdom-shaking conspiracy. And this involves sentient architecture, exiled wizards, and the literal boundary between Landover and the home of the demons. Abaddon itself. So our mission today is to map out her chaotic path from, a rebellious Earth student to a very unlikely savior.
And in doing that, to really understand the deep magical and political mechanics that stabilize, or I guess destabilize, this extraordinary realm.
That's it, exactly.
Okay, let's unpack this. And to understand the scope of the threat Mistaya faces, we have to start not in Landover, but here on Earth.
Right, at the Woodland Park Zoo, of all places.
Because the most patient and, frankly, terrible threat to Landover has been, for years, contained in a small cage.
It's a remarkable piece of storytelling setup. We're introduced to Nightshade, the legendary witch of the Deep Fell.
Right.
But she's currently trapped in the very mundane form of a crow with these brilliant, unmistakable red eyes.
And what's critical here is the sheer endurance of her malice. She has been confined for more than 5 years.
5 years? That's an eternity for a being of her power.
Exactly. And the sources tell us her existence during that time has been fueled purely by bitter memories and a growing dark rage.
So she's physically just a caged bird, but mentally she is entirely consumed with plotting her escape and reclaiming Mistaya Holiday,
whom she ominously refers to as the Child of Three Worlds.
It establishes immediately that Landover's problems are not limited by geography. Its enemies are merely waiting for a weakness to exploit.
And you get this incredible, almost humorous contrast in the narrative. The dedicated but thoroughly mundane zoo worker, Vince.
Oh, Vince. Yeah. He studies this rare crow daily, completely bewildered by its unusual coloring, wondering about this aberration.
He's got his own theories, of course.
Right, and they're all perfectly logical for our world. He thinks, and I quote, "Crows couldn't talk or even think much. They just reacted to instinct." He has absolutely no idea.
Meanwhile, the creature he's watching, the witch, is dreaming of things that would have scalded the earth and melted the iron bars.
That juxtaposition tells you everything about the nature of magic hidden in plain sight. It anchors the entire narrative with this long-term, intense, and deeply personal threat against our protagonist, Mistaya.
Right. Nightshade isn't just a generic villain. She is driven by a 5-year-long need to seize this specific princess.
A very specific obsession.
So we know the enemy is patient and ready. Let's shift to the princess herself. Why is Mistaya suddenly back from Earth, triggering the start of this whole dramatic arc?
Well, she was definitely not thriving at Carrington Women's Preparatory. Not in the slightest.
That's putting it mildly.
Her removal by the headmistress, Harriet Appleton, was inevitable. Mistaya is fundamentally incompatible with the human world.
She's an absolute paradox.
Completely. Physically, she's only 15. Intellectually, she's 22. But emotionally, the sources say she's off in the twilight zone.
And she has this deep, scratchy dissatisfaction that led her to act out with, extreme prejudice.
She racked up a suspension list that sounds more like performance art than student misconduct.
Let's break down those violations, because they tell us exactly what kind of person Mistaya is becoming.
Okay, so the first one sounds innocuous enough. Forming an unauthorized club, a bonding with nature program.
Harmless, you'd think.
Right, until you see the follow-through. The second violation, ritualistic scarring. She wasn't handing out merit badges. She was using sharp branches to inflict dozens of scars on participants.
And she frames it as an African-influenced art form. The audacity is just astounding.
It is. And her justification for this, which is really key to her character, is that this scarring conveyed the depth of commitment needed to remember the pain caused by human ignorance.
This is where her Child of Three Worlds heritage clashes so violently with Earth.
Exactly. She genuinely believes Earth classes are dull, sterile, and ignorant of connecting with nature and mythical power. She views her actions not as misconduct, but as a kind of superior spiritual education.
She is intelligent enough to know the rules.
Oh, absolutely.
But emotionally immature enough to believe her rules supersede the mundane world.
And that leads us to the final violation, the most egregious one, which involves forbidden magic use.
Traumatizing a student. Rhonda Masterson.
She used magic specifically forbidden outside Landover to conjure a highly detailed image of Strabo the dragon. But she didn't stop at just the visual.
No, she weaponized the sensory experience. She made Rhonda smell the dragon's breath.
That detail is so important. It demonstrates that her magic isn't just visual parlor tricks, it's potent, invasive, sensory magic. And she confessed, quite unapologetically, that Rhonda got what she deserved for calling her a name.
So the headmistress had no choice. She had to recognize that Mistaya simply couldn't find a way to fit in, because her internal compass is fundamentally guided by Landover's rules, not Earth's.
It was never going to work.
So suspension means a ticket home, which for Mistaya is a profound relief. That leads us to the source of her uniqueness, her lineage.
Her heritage is the key to everything, her instability and her power. She is truly the child of three worlds, part fairy, part earth child from her father, Ben Holiday.
And part child of Landover itself. Her mother, Willow, is a sylph, a tree spirit.
And the sources go into this deeply specific, magical detail about her birth circumstances. It's fascinating. Willow went into unexpected labor while she was transforming into a tree.
Which is already a wild concept.
It is, and she was forced to take root in the Deep Fell. That's Nightshade's home ground, of all places.
The worst possible timing.
And in that process, Willow had mixed soils from Greenwich, which is Ben's world, lake country pines, and fairy mists. This forced union of geography and magic is what made Mistaya the only one of her kind.
And that unique, accelerated start in life explains her quantum leaps of growth.
Right. Talking at 2 months, walking at 3, swimming at 4, progressing to girlhood in months, not years. She's genetically engineered for power, but without the time needed to integrate that power with any kind of emotional grounding.
Which explains why she can intellectually be 22, but emotionally be in the Twilight Zone.
Exactly.
When she travels back, she flies to the Waynesboro area, walks this winding path, and enters Landover by passing through the mists. For most people, these mists are a protective barrier. They just turn you around.
But for her, it's a direct passage home. But even that passage is fraught with peril. The sources warn that a single misstep from that winding path would land her straight into the treacherous land of the fairies.
Her mother's people, who are not always welcoming.
Not at all. The Landover experience is constant navigation between stability and extreme magical peril.
And she crosses over, ready to greet her father, the king, and enjoy her magical homeland, only to be immediately intercepted.
It's the least gentle welcome possible. Before she can even get to the castle, Sterling Silver, she is confronted by Strabo, the last of the dragons.
Emerging from the fire springs, no less.
And he's not there to say hello. He's there to conduct an investigation into her use of his image to frighten Rhonda Masterson. He calls it forbidden behavior.
This is a crucial rule of Landover magic.
It is. Strabo is laying down the law, absolutely furious that she used her power to label dragons as scary monsters. This is more than just hurt feelings for him.
It's about maintaining the magical integrity of the creatures that define Landover.
Exactly. If the Princess of Landover uses potent magic to spread fear about dragons, it potentially weakens the dragon species' true status or power. He's protecting his brand, so to speak.
And he gives her a chilling warning.
Yeah.
Use his image again without permission, and she will hear from me much more quickly.
She is immediately reminded that even the most powerful mythical creatures operate under strict, non-negotiable rules.
The irony is rich. She gets suspended from Earth for breaking rules, only to immediately return to Landover and find out she's broken rules that are far more dangerous.
And gets a direct warning from a creature that could incinerate her. It's quite a homecoming.
And then, just after that, she runs into Pogwith, a G-home gnome.
These are a burrow people, scavengers, who are generally despised in Landover.
Their name is literally derived from people shouting, "Go home, gnome!"
Right. And Pogwood is trussed up in a tree, likely placed there by Bunyan, the castle kobold, which just shows you the low status of these people. Mistaya helps him down.
And this small, crucial act of kindness is born out of her genuine sympathy for the marginalized, even though she despises institutional authority.
And you know that act of kindness is going to pay massive dividends later. It always does in these stories.
Absolutely. So let's move to the court. Sterling Silver and King Ben Holiday. He's feeling the pressure.
Ben is struggling. He's struggling with accelerated aging, even though it's slowed in Landover, and just the relentless pressure of managing a kingdom he bought 20 years ago through a Christmas catalog.
I mean, that detail never gets old.
It's incredible. He expected paradise and got a tattered crown, a ruined castle, and a court filled with eccentrics. Questor, the wizard with bad spells, Abernathy, the dog scribe, and the kobolds. It's an unlikely foundation for stability.
We need to pause here on sterling silver, the castle itself. The sources define it not just as a location, but as a living, sentient being.
That's right. Sterling silver is a caregiver. It was created to be inextricably linked to the king's life as mother to a child.
So this connection means the physical and magical stability of the king directly dictates the stability of the central seat of power.
Yes. If the king suffers, the castle suffers. This is crucial context for understanding the threat Mistaya later faces. The health of the king is the health of the kingdom, literally.
And linked to the king is his secret power, the paladin. Ben wears the king's medallion, which summons his champion.
This is the critical piece of insight Ben desperately keeps hidden. The champion is not a separate entity. Ben Holiday is the paladin.
It's his alter ego.
It is. A physical embodiment of strength and martial skill triggered by the medallion. But the power comes at a terrifying cost.
What's the psychological and political cost here?
The psychological cost is severe. The exertion leaves him drained and terrified afterward, fueled by the constant secret fear that one day he won't be able to change back.
That the heroic, powerful paladin persona will permanently consume the man, Ben Holiday.
Yes. And politically, if his court knew their champion was just the fearful king forcing himself into an alter ego, his authority would crumble. The stability of Landover rests on a man terrified of his own shadow.
That fear is exactly what the new villain, Lord Laphroig of Rindweir, tries to exploit, albeit unknowingly.
Laphroig shows up proposing marriage to Mistaya, and Laphroig is a genuine menace.
He's only 26, the son of Ben's former adversary, and described as cunning, devious, mean-spirited, and constantly challenging Ben's rule.
He is politically dangerous and personally repugnant to Mistaya, and his motivation for the hasty marriage is horrifying.
He needs an heir quickly because his wife and son recently died from a fever and suicide, respectively.
But the sources later confirm that Laphroig was responsible. He used poison on both of them.
This detail immediately establishes Laphroig as a pure sociopath driven by ambition. He's treating the princess as a political trophy and a rapid path to securing his line.
And Ben is placed in an impossible political trap. Rejecting the proposal outright violates standard feudal practice among the lords of the Greensward.
And risks political turmoil or outright rebellion.
So he buys time. He tells Laphroig he will consider the matter. But this delay is a massive mistake from Mistaya's perspective.
She is furious. Laphroig has already implied the marriage was a settled deal and blatantly threatened her, stating she would be his latest acquisition.
And for Mistaya, who already hates the mundane constraints of Earth, this feudal constraint being treated as property is her breaking point.
The court, Ben, Willow, Questor, and Abernathy, they huddle up, realizing she can't go back to Earth, but she can't stay where Laphroig can corner her. They need a project for her.
And this is where Questor and Abernathy introduce a facility Ben didn't even know existed. The Royal Library, Libiris.
What's the history of this place?
Libiris was founded by the old king to foster reading, but it was just neglected and ceased functioning. It fell into disrepair.
So the logic of the court is simple yet fundamentally flawed. Send Mistaya there with Questor to organize it.
And the decision is made. A project of this sort would keep Mistaya occupied. This decision, made without her consent, treats the magically potent, intellectually 22-year-old princess like a child needing a hobby.
And it directly fuels her decision to flee.
It's the final straw.
Trapped between an arranged marriage with a murderer and forced exile to a dusty library, Mistaya chooses option C, running away to her only perceived ally.
Her internal logic is sound, from her perspective. She chooses her maternal grandfather, the Rivermaster, the leader of the fairy-born in Eldaru.
She sees him as her one refuge because he loves her and, more importantly, profoundly dislikes her parents.
Especially Ben Holiday, the human king.
She's smart about her escape, too. She uses Pogwith, the despised Johom gnome she helped, to smuggle out her duffel bag.
And we know exactly what she's taking. Clothes, a compass, a virtual map ring, a fairy stone, which is a token for her grandfather, and the crucial item.
A pocket-sized book of wizard spells given to her by Questor.
That book of spells is not standard student fare. It's a source of real, albeit condensed, power. She knows she needs magical insurance.
She travels through the dark woods and swamp, meticulously avoiding the deep fell in Abaddon. She's accompanied by Pogwid and Shoopdiesel, another gnome.
But the fairy world offers no sanctuary. When she reaches Eldaru, the Rivermaster, who is physically striking, tall, lean, with chiseled features and gills on his neck, He rejects her.
Flat out refuses her.
His rejection is just laced with centuries of fairy resentment toward the human world and Landover's throne. He still harbors pain over Willow's mother, a wild creature he couldn't tame, and he really dislikes Ben.
So his core message is clear. Mistaya must solve her own problems. You will not interfere with her parents' wishes regarding Libiris.
He's not going to get involved.
So she is rejected by her last resort. It's right after this moment of total vulnerability that a new, strange, magical ally emerges.
Edgewood Dirk. A silver and black cat, but not just any cat. He is a Prism Cat possessing specialized magic, and he approaches her in the swamp.
We need to slow down and analyze this. What exactly is a Prism Cat, and what is its role in Landover's magical ecosystem?
Prism Cats are extremely rare magical sentinels, often historically aligned with the crown, though not necessarily with the king himself. Their magic revolves around seeing, manipulating, and navigating magical light and pathways. Hence, Prism.
So Dirk offers to guide her away from Eldaru, offering immediate protection.
Yes, and where does the Prism Cat suggest they go? To the only place Ben would never look for her, Libiris.
The very place she was running from.
Exactly. But Dirk's bargain isn't just a rescue, it's a lesson. He warns Mistaya that she forgot to speak the name of Haltwhistle, her mud puppy protector.
Right, and because she forgot his name, the creature was returned to the Earth Mother.
Dirk confirms that magic in Landover requires acknowledgement, connection, and remembrance. It's not just a tool you use and put away.
He also provides a very specific magical guarantee. While she is with him at Libiris, she won't be found by another magic.
Only if Ben sends the paladin himself.
This immediately tells you two things. First, Dirk's shielding magic is extremely potent, capable of fooling even the Landsview map.
And second, it reaffirms the sheer desperate power of the paladin, the only entity that can bypass this powerful sentient shield. The stakes are set. If Ben finds her, it will be the paladin, not the king, who comes for her.
Back at Sterling Silver, the frantic search is underway. Ben is using the Landsview, the magical map in the tower, but finding nothing.
He knows the Landsview can't penetrate the two places of pure dark chaos, the Deep Fell and Abaddon. But she's not in either, and he's searching everywhere else.
The absence of Libiris from his mind just confirms the library's deep neglect and Dirk's tactical genius. He's not even thinking to look there.
It's the perfect hiding spot.
And while Ben is searching, Bunyan, the castle kobold, delivers a key intelligence report. Bunyan had been captured by Laphroig's men at Rindware.
But Bunyan escaped, freeing the 4 guards who held him. But his most valuable acquisition was stealing Laphroig's hidden book of poisons.
That book is the concrete proof of Laphroig's psychopathy. It has the precise recipes Laphroig used to kill his wife and son.
It confirms that the greatest threat to Ben is not rebellion, but calculated chemical murder.
Laphroig, enraged, doesn't just let his guards go. He orders them to be hung from the castle walls for their failure.
And then, when his spy confirms Mistaya is missing, Laphroig realizes the enormous opportunity. Finding the princess first would make Ben Holiday beholden to him.
Furthering his push toward the throne. The political and personal threats are now converging.
And this convergence point is the most horrifying location Mistaya has ever seen, the Libiris.
The description is chilling. It is not a place of learning. It is a fortress. Dingy stonework, crumbling mortar, razor wire, locked and barred doors.
It looks exactly like something out of a particularly nasty nightmare.
They're met by Rufus Pinch, the overseer, who is described with a rodent-like face, small, shifty, and suspicious.
And then Thom appears, slightly older, tall and angular, who immediately provides cover, calling Mistaya his sister, Illus.
Thom's quick thinking is essential for their entry, but life inside is grim.
Oh, it's awful. The library is dark, dank, cold, and smells profoundly of decay. It's truly a tomb for the dead.
And Thom confirms he is an indentured apprentice to the wizard in charge, his Eminence, Craswell Crabbit.
And Crabbit is a wizard of notorious reputation.
Absolutely. Questor later confirms that Crabbit is a dangerous wizard, exiled to Libiris by the old king, specifically for ambition and troublemaking.
The king exiled him here, to the sentient library, rather than executing him, perhaps because the exile itself was intended as a form of lifelong confinement and containment.
And Crabbit is physically unforgettable. Over 7 feet tall, skeletal, with a head 2 sizes too big. He resembles a praying mantis.
Thom explains that his Eminence likes beautiful things, which implies Mistaya's look secured her acceptance to work in the stacks, but always with the subtext of a predatory interest.
Crabbit also brought his own bizarre staff. Frog monkeys.
Yeah, these things. They're rangy, ape-like, and hiss constantly. They were brought in for heavy work, but mostly used for book snatching and avoiding labor unless Thom coerces them.
They're a sign of the unnatural chaos Crabbit brought with him.
Definitely.
While working in the cavernous stacks, Mistaya and Thom begin hearing a voice.
A voice calling, "Help me!"
Thom confesses he tracked the voice once and was grabbed by a powerful suction force, pulling him toward a huge tunnel of blackness.
This suction is not metaphorical, it's the physical manifestation of the conspiracy. And Mistaya experiences it herself.
As they are pulled toward the black void, she feels a pulse and a warmth, a sensation that instantly reminds her of sterling silver.
That feeling of kinship. And it's confirmed when Questor arrives, having successfully tracked her down by deducing her location, bringing the G-Home gnomes with him.
And he drops the bombshell about the architecture.
This is the deep technical insight we need. Questor confirms that Libiris is a sentient being. The old king used materials and magic grafted from sterling silver to construct it.
Trying to create a second royal caregiver.
Right, but the process was flawed. Libiris became a child entity alive, but less intelligent and less stable than sterling silver.
So the voice calling "help me" is literally the sentient library itself, calling out in pain, recognizing the princess's powerful magical signature and her link to sterling silver.
Exactly. And this structural pain leads to the terrifying core of the conspiracy, which Edgewood Dirk explains.
The black void is not just a hole, it's a connection to Abaddon, the home of the demons.
And Crabbit and Pinch have been systematically stealing secret books of old magic and ancient conjuring, using the Throg monkeys to swap them out with mundane books in the stacks.
This is not mere theft of intellectual property.
No. Because Libiris is alive, the act of stealing these powerful books is described as literally stealing Libiris's heart.
The books contain potent magical energy, and their removal creates an open wound in the library's wall.
And Crabbit is using that stolen magical energy to cast spells, actively weakening the boundary that separates Landover from Abaddon's demons.
This is truly diabolical. Ben Holiday's entire kingship has been defined by keeping the borders sealed against chaos.
And Crabbit is using the kingdom's own neglected repository of knowledge to tear open the gates to hell, all to lure Ben into a trap.
He's weaponizing the king's own negligence regarding the library.
It connects directly to the core fragility of Landover. The kingdom is built on magical integrity, and by exploiting the physical structure of Libiris, the failed child entity, Crabbit has found a way to undermine the entire realm from the inside out.
Mistaya immediately understands the gravity. She knows she can't wait for Ben to arrive and walk into this clearly deadly trap.
She has to counter Crabbit's plan, but Dirk confirms she can't use her own magic directly on the stolen books because they are already magically protected and would simply resist her.
This forces her to find a brilliant, lateral solution that highlights her intellectual maturity.
Instead of forcing the books back, she uses her magic to make them lighter.
A shift in magical physics.
Yes. She then tricks the Throg monkeys, the only creatures capable of moving the books freely, into carrying the now lighter returned books back into the stacks.
She uses the very agents of chaos to inadvertently heal the magical structure. She successfully undermines the plot, slowing the breach right under Crabbit's nose.
But this interference does not go unnoticed. Crabbit confronts them, locking them up.
And Mistaya quickly covers, claiming they were looking for a lost family heirloom, even sealing the lie with real tears about her mother.
Crabbit isn't fooled, but he plays along. He locks them, confirming he knew Questor was there and that Mistaya was bait for Ben. He then uses a powerful binding spell to seal Mistaya's hands, making her potent magic useless for the confrontation.
And then the final twist before the climax. Crabbit forces Mistaya to reveal her identity, confirming she is the princess. But then he reveals Thom's true name.
Thom's true identity is Anjan Tomlinson, Lord Laphroig's younger brother. He was assumed dead for 3 years, having fled to Libiris after Laphroig murdered their other brother.
So Crabbit, the genius manipulator, now possesses the true heir to Rindweir and the princess.
He had secured both the political power and the magical bait needed to control the kingdom, regardless of whether he killed Ben or Laphroig.
Mistaya's accidental ally is the true prince of Rindweir, the very man Laphroig is desperate to keep dead. This raises the stakes exponentially for everyone involved.
The timing is perfect for the wizard. Laphroig arrives shortly afterward with 50 armed knights and a battering ram ready to gain entry.
Crabbit makes the immediate deal. Laphroig gets the girl and the chance for the throne. Crabbit gets to eliminate Ben Holiday.
And the sources confirm Crabbit secretly plans to kill Laphroig afterward, believing he would be the superior king. He wants it all for himself.
Of course he does. So Crabbit tries to force the marriage, threatening Thom's life, promising to hand the boy over to Laphroig to watch him die, if Mistaya refuses.
She agrees to the marriage to save her friend, but she demands one tactical concession. Her hands must be freed, claiming a bride shouldn't be shackled.
And Laphroig, blinded by lust and ambition, agrees, overruling Crabbit's furious advice.
That brief moment of freedom is all she needed. Mistaya begins to rapidly weave a spell, a complex incantation she has been practicing. As Laphroig reaches for her finger with the ring, she completes the spell.
She utilizes the same forbidden magic that got her suspended, the image of the dragon, but this time it is massively enhanced.
She conjures a powerful, massive illusion of Strabo, creating total, immediate chaos, scattering knights and diverting Crabbit just long enough.
She used her transgression to achieve a tactical victory, but the victory is short-lived. After the first diversion, the wedding party moves outside, and Mistaya is instantly shackled again.
And then the ultimate inconvenience. The real Strabo appears.
He is not impressed by her saving the kingdom. He is furious that she used his image again, despite his explicit warning.
It's a moment of dark comedy amidst the terror. Strabo is ready to execute consequences, but his attention is mercifully diverted by Laphroig's fleeing knights, whom he deems a tasty snack.
Crunchy on the outside and chewy on the inside, as the source describes them.
Saved by an appetite. But Laphroig and Crabbit are still there. They move to recapture Mistaya. It is in this final chaotic confrontation that Haltwhistle, the mud puppy, reappears.
Despite having been sent back to the Earth Mother.
Mistaya whispers his name, Haltwhistle, securing his magical presence right as the final multi-layered magical collision occurs.
And this collision is complex. Pinch fires a crossbow, Laphroig throws a dagger, Crabbit unleashes dark magic.
Mistaya conjures a defensive, protective spell, and Haltwhistle fires his own lance of stabilizing magic. All these forces hit the same point simultaneously, guided by Mistaya's protective intent.
The result is immediate and defining. Laphroig is turned to stone, permanently petrified.
Crabbit and Pinch vanish, presumably banished or destroyed by the collision, and the air becomes briefly toxic, knocking Mistaya unconscious. The political threat from Rhineware is neutralized.
But the primary threat, Abaddon, remains.
A huge squalling sound comes from inside the library. The demons are trying to break out through the opening in the stacks, taking advantage of the vacuum of power left by Crabbit.
Mistaya and Thom rush back to find a massive demon reading spells from the red leather book, widening the gap. She is completely exhausted, but she knows she has only one spell left, powerful enough to seal the breach.
This is the moment she crosses a critical ethical line. It's one of the deadliest incantations she learned years ago from Nightshade, the very witch who seeks to control her.
She uses the dark magic. Not just binding spells, but the kind that would burn the demons to ash. She secures the breach.
The gash in the library wall shrinks, the opening closes, and the way out of Abaddon is sealed once again.
The insight here is crucial. Mistaya saves Landover, but she does so by dipping into pure dark power, the very knowledge that Nightshade coveted.
She proved she possesses the maturity to manage that power for a benevolent goal, but the magical cost, the connection to that darkness, lingers.
With the Abaddon crisis averted, we move toward the resolution in Landover.
Mistaya and Thom are safe. Quester and Abernathy arrive, and the emotional cleanup begins. The immediate consequences are clear. Crabbit's trap is nullified. Laphroig is a statue.
The stolen books are largely returned, though the dangerous red book used by the demon is destroyed.
And Thom, now officially Anjan Tomlinson, the true Lord of Rhineware, decides to return home.
And significantly, he doesn't want to maintain the old feudal order. He plans to give land to the people.
Then Holiday, recognizing the progressive shift and Thom's inherent goodness, agrees to support him, bringing a new era of stability and justice to that corner of the kingdom.
And the most important reconciliation is between father and daughter. They finally reconcile.
Ben apologizes for treating her like a child, admitting that he struggles to see her as anything else. Mistaya apologizes for running away.
And Questor confirms the transformation. Mistaya is, every inch, a true Princess of Landover who saved her father and the kingdom from peril.
She has earned the maturity she craves.
It's a successful climax for Landover, but our sources offer a vital thematic comparison point, a brief but impactful glimpse into a completely different kind of crisis in a parallel world.
This ensures we understand that chaos is multifaceted.
Right. This shifts us to the narrative of bearers of the Black Staff. We meet Cider Amit, the bearer, who wakes up injured next to the corpse of his attacker, an Agenal.
And this world is not filled with magic and sentient castles.
No, it's defined by decay and grit. Cider is rescued by Deladion Inch, a bronzed man covered in scars and missing fingers, who relies on modern physical weaponry, a flechette gun, and explosives.
They form a fundamental bargain of mutual survival. Cider tells Inch about the staff and the magic it holds, and Inch tells Cider about the current world.
A world that is post-apocalyptic, ravaged by plague and firestorm, where people live like animals and the Edgenals are a new, unexplained enemy.
Inch transports the injured Cider via a sapling sled to a massive walled ruin, a fortress built by once men 200 to 300 years ago.
The contrast for you, the listener, couldn't be sharper. Landover deals with demons trying to exploit magical boundaries, knowledge, and sentient architecture.
While Cider's world deals with the physical collapse of civilization, technology turned to scavenging and persistent environmental and biological threats. In both cases, the core challenge is maintaining structure and resisting chaos, whether that chaos is magical or societal.
We've addressed the political, the magical, and the thematic stability of Landover. But we must address that single, lingering loose thread that started this whole story back on Earth.
We have to return to the Woodland Park Zoo. Crabbit and Pinch, the exiled wizard and his rodent-faced overseer, were suddenly, violently ejected from Landover during that magical collision.
And they were dumped into the aviary, wearing their strange robes and tunics, causing total security distraction.
Zoo worker Vince is there, noting that the two men appeared just like the crow did years ago. Not there one day, there the next.
He speculates wildly about who they might be, revealing his own cultural ignorance and bias as he tries to process the impossible. He thinks maybe they're Arabic albinos or terrorists.
But while security is busy detaining the robed men, the truly critical realization dawns on Vince. He glances back at the highest branch of the farthest tree.
The crow with the brilliant red eyes, Nightshade, is gone.
She escaped when the two men were taken into custody. She used the chaos of the exiled wizard's sudden appearance as the perfect distraction for her own 5-year plot.
Vince is the only one who truly recognizes the gravity of this disappearance. He senses that the bird won't be caught again, and he is relieved that she is someone else's problem.
That is the ultimate chilling conclusion to this deep dive. Mistaya successfully faced the political danger of Laphroig, neutralized the architectural conspiracy of Crabbit, and sealed the demons of Abaddon.
But her most patient, powerful enemy, Nightshade the Witch, the source of the dark magic she had to use to save the day, is now free.
And that raises an important question for you, the listener, and for the stability of Landover. Nightshade is no longer confined to that crow form, nor is she confined to the magical boundaries of Landover.
She has accessed Ben Holliday's original world, a world defined by technology, ignorance, and a lack of belief in magic.
Landover's magic has always been stabilized by its separation from Earth. So how much more dangerous is the witch now that she has access to 21st century resources, anonymity, and a world ripe for magical manipulation?
That long-term threat is now active and untethered.
An essential piece of knowledge for anyone invested in the destiny of Landover. We have successfully charted the complex magical lineage, the political conspiracies, the physics of sentient architecture, and the ultimate threat of the patient, newly freed witch.
The knowledge gained here is the understanding that true maturity and power often mean choosing between two terrible options, and that chaos rarely respects the boundaries we try to build around it.
Thank you for joining us for the deep dive. We hope this knowledge serves you well until the next time.